Bobby Kotick, Bobby Coddick, Bobby Codfish, Bobby Fishstick, aka the CEO of the multi-billion-dollar corporation known as AcTiViSiOn, who, for some reason as of late, everyone has been praising for deciding to finally getting around to removing some hacked accounts, banning some hacked accounts from Warzone nearly a year after the game has been out and since the issue has been plaguing the game since, it first came out last March, nearly a year ago at this point. It's about to be a year in less than a month, or a little over a month. Doesn't really matter either way. And you want to know how many accounts they removed? That's right, guys. A whopping 60,000 accounts out of like 70 million that are potentially hacked. Some of them may or may not, because that's never happened before. But, a grand total of 60,000. And on top of that, it's not even an IP ban. It's just a ban of the account itself. And on top of that, with Warzone being free to play, you can just make another account no problem with no form of consequence whatsoever. Yeah, that's right. Again, 60,000 out of 70 million. Wow, Bobby, I am so proud of you. I am so impressed. In fact, here's my golf clap. Super golf clap. Because they deserve it, right? They deserve our highest praise. We should suck their dicks because of how much effort they put into finally removing hacked accounts from a game. Banned accounts from a game nearly a year after it's been out. That's incredible. And on top of that, still having yet to properly address the skill-based matchmaking system and how it seems it's gonna be in CoD forever, which, look guys, at one point, we all said that loot boxes would never go away. People for the longest time were saying that supply drops would never leave Call of Duty. They're never gonna go away. They're here to stay for the foreseeable future. And what happened? They went away. And you want to know why? Because that's when greed took its course. And you see, if there's one thing this industry's taught me, it's that greed destroys everything it touches. In some way or another, greed eventually catches up to that company or corporation, or both. And eventually it ends up destroying that corporation or company in some way. It has happened a multitude of times. I've mentioned them a billion times at this point. CD Projekt Red with Cyberpunk! Just look at how much greed got them into the shitter. And again, look at what happened with supply drops. Something is eventually gonna happen with skill-based matchmaking and all that at some point. It's gonna reach a boiling point. Like, they're saying it's gonna be a part of the series now, but as history has shown many times, AcTiViSion's the type of snaky, scummy little company that'll stick with something for a few years so long as it works for short-term profit. And, each fiscal year is an increase over the last one. But the moment that source of income stops functioning well, that trend that they're following instead of making themselves, such as, again, loot boxes, once that no longer works out for them well and it starts putting them into the shitter and they start losing money, then they move over to the next popular trend, and then from there, they stick with that until it no longer functions, and then they move on to the next one. It's an ongoing cycle with AcTiViSiOn where eventually they're going to reach a point where something is going to replace both the Battle Pass system and skill-based matchmaking. Maybe not tomorrow, maybe not next year, maybe not for the next 5 to 10 years, but something eventually will. History tends to repeat itself when people, or in this case corporations, don't learn from their mistakes. Most of the time, people and corporations don't learn from their mistakes. People don't learn from other people's mistakes because you don't learn from mistakes unless that thing happens to you personally. That's just how it is being human. And, although I'm not a psychologist, but, that's just what shit has shown time and time again. But yeah. This is just going to be another thing that eventually is going to blow up in their faces, in some way or another. Greed can only take you so far before eventually it begins to destroy you. And it's going to happen with this at some point. And the 60k account cover-up is not the start of them actually doing something. Ooh, a whole 60k accounts! My fucking ass! That isn't shit. That's barely a dent. Get the fuck out of here. That doesn't fucking matter. Like, it doesn't matter. Ooh, guys, our shareholders, they're pleased with it. Well, that's cool. Like, yeah, of course the numbers are up. We've been in a fucking pandemic for a year, dipshits. Of course the numbers are up. Would Warzone's numbers be up this high without Corona? No, probably not. Just keeping it real. Like, and on top of that, I'm sure a huge portion of Battlefield fans went over to Modern Warfare, right? Because of Ground War and how it copied and pasted Conquest from Battlefield into CoD. And considering that it is a knockoff Conquest for the fact that there isn't proper destructible environments, like, yeah, I enjoy Ground War somewhat, but without proper destructible environments, it's not as fun. It ruins it. It just isn't as enjoyable. And going off of the rumors and speculation from guys like Long Sensation and how they're really trying to go all out with destructible environments, you know, like, at that point, if they can really knock it out of the park, and on top of that, if they say that there's going to be a proper anti-cheat system as well as a lower down skill-based matchmaking system in the game, if they use that as marketing, that right there is going to attract so many people. Guaranteed. Say that it is going to have a proper anti-cheat system, especially if the rumors are true about Battlefield 6 possibly having another Battle Royale game mode as a way to make another attempt at their version of it, since Firebreak was such a massive success for Battlefield 5, as everyone knows. You know, and, you know, with Warzone being such a big thing, of course, EA would want to compete with their biggest, just as bad competitor, because, you know, competition is good for the industry. And if they can do it right, it could potentially sway over a shit ton of Warzone players and all-in-all CoD players and once veteran Battlefield players back to Battlefield. And at that point, it's like, shit, we've actually got to listen to the community because, you know, if they're finally scampering this much about one person with a big platform, who I'm forgetting the name of at the moment, if they're finally doing something at the name of this person, saying that, no, fuck Warzone, I'm done with it, just imagine what'll happen if enough people go over to Battlefield 6. Okay, guys, fine, we'll do it. It'll just be Modern Warfare 2019 all over again, and I can't wait for that to happen. Because they need a wake-up call. CoD is just, it's not in a good place right now. It just isn't. Like, yes, I know they're profiting well, but just the pure quality of it, it is just not there. And I refuse to praise a company for doing something, or no, not just barely doing a thing. Barely doing anything, which barely constitutes as doing something nearly a year into this game's life cycle. No, fuck Activision, bro. I'm not going to praise them for something they should have been doing from the start, and if their engine just really can't handle an anti-cheat system, then oh well, tough shit. That's a you problem for Activision as far as I'm concerned. They should have thought about that sooner. They should have thought about that, but no. Always got to think about the short term, never the long term. How do they expect Warzone to properly be the face of CoD going forward for the foreseeable future if they're not going to fucking properly fix it? Like, that logic is retarded. It makes no sense. They're going to lose players eventually when there's more games available. Like, guys, we gotta think from a different perspective, from the long term. Again, greed destroys everything it touches. It's not gonna last them forever. They're gonna have to do something eventually. And 60k accounts is not that thing. They have to do much more. And if this old engine cannot handle an anti-cheat system, if it's just too old, then here's a little tip for you, Activision. How about making a new fucking engine? How about you use some of that multi-billion-dollar cash that you got and invest towards a brand new engine from the ground up with modern-day technology that isn't decades out of date? Maybe do that, and then maybe, just maybe, you can have an engine for games with a proper anti-cheat system. But no, we gotta keep relying on this fucking 30-year-old engine now. Like, it's nearly 30 years old at this point, so, you know, might as well call it that. It's been around since Quake. It started with Quake in 1996. That's 25 years ago, so almost 30 years at this point. They've been relying on this old-ass engine to make these games function. That's the reason why there's so many hit detection problems and so many lag issues with CoD after all these years. Like, aside from just skill-based matchmaking being so against connection and choosing skill, which I see so many people defending skill-based matchmaking who just completely miss the fucking point. It's not that people just want to dominate the whole game. People just want a fun game that has good, proper connections. That's all they want. Is it that hard to do 5 seconds of Google searching? Or just 5 seconds of searching on YouTube to see what the arguments for why skill-based matchmaking is bad? Is it really that hard? Verified accounts on Twitter, is it really that difficult to go out of your echo chamber to just look up something for 5 fucking seconds? But no. In that case, it's like, shut the fuck up then. Like, I know we're just talking about video games here, but in any point, it's just, if you're just going to be ignorant towards any sort of debate or argument in any way, and refuse to acknowledge the counter argument and just hear it out and properly do research on why people don't like something, then just shut the fuck up because your opinion doesn't matter. Like, unless you're doing proper research on something, and unless you know what you're talking about, like, if you're just talking out of your ass, then just stop talking altogether. No one wants to hear it. But I just wanted to say that, because that's always annoyed me. But, yeah. Like, if they can't get a new engine, oh well. They better figure out something with this old one. Like, guys, again, multi-billion-dollar corporation. Is it so fucking hard to just... I get it takes time to make a new engine, but just imagine in the long term what it'll do for the series. And on top of that, you know what would be a great excuse for this? Not having CoD be annual. By not having CoD be annual, by giving it a break for a few years, that gives them the time to invest in making a brand new engine from the whole ground up. Right from the ground up. And if Warzones really is the future of the series, for the foreseeable future as of now, then what's the big deal about taking a few years off from releasing a brand new Warzone expansion pack every single year? Since that is what CoD is now. It's a free-to-play battle royale game with a additional and, again, entirely optional, as publishers always say, you know, entirely optional $70 DLC that you can purchase that comes with a campaign, forgotten about multiplayer mode, and forgotten about zombies mode. So, you know, if Warzone really is the future, then shit, might as well give the regular releases a break. And you know what you could do in the meantime if you're just that desperate for getting a new game out that year? How about putting out Modern Warfare 2 Multiplayer Remastered, like a lot of people have been requesting for a few years now, because that would be pretty cool to see, and just letting it be Modern Warfare 2, which granted they would put a battle pass in there, because of course they would, because every game's got to have a battle pass now. But is it really just so hard to just do that? Just put it out there, and then from there, supporting it with new free content, and just having it be a good remaster. AcTiViSiON, it's so easy. Like, you make so much money, you don't have a reason to release a game for at least 2 years. Come on, guys. At least 2 years. Is it really so hard just to not be greedy? I guess not. I guess not. That's naive to think. That's naive to say. So, might as well stop saying it. So yeah, there you go. That's just what I wanted to say. That's just my thoughts. Because, you know, we should give props to the, again, multi-billion-dollar corporation. Yeah, no, fuck this corporation. They're not ever going to get my props. I'll give credit where credit is due. As far as I'm concerned, no credit has been deserved whatsoever. The fact that they have to be forced to do something instead of just doing something like this, that alone gives me no reason to give them props. Like, just do something like getting rid of hacked accounts just of your own admission, and don't do it out of obligation because of people leaving the game. That shit is so fucking annoying, and it just pisses me off. So, yeah. I just wanted to get this rant off my chest, because this shit's been pissing me off for a little bit. So yeah, there you go. That's what I wanted to say. I hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe for future content coming soon, as well as turn on the notification bell and set it to all notifications, and I'll see you all next time. But until then, I'm out. Later.